god. Okay, we are started. I am Tyler. This is the Nerdge podcast. I am joined by the one and only.
You were supposed to pick a.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Okay, I was formerly known as Tyler, formerly known as Chef, yet to be named. What should my name be this episode?
You gotta really put us on the spot here.
The conductor.
The
conductor.
Oh my god, that's so. That's such a cringe nickname. Hello, everybody. I am the conductor for this episode.
Speaking of that, I don't want to interrupt because we haven't even got through the intro. But there's a VR game where you get to play a conductor. And so you hold the wands and you get to like razz up the crowd and then like point to the different sections to start going, and it actually looks super cool.
I thought you meant like
pretty fun.
I thought you meant like the conductor of a train. I was gonna be like, this is the most British thing I've ever heard.
Oh, I guarantee you there's a VR for that too. Absolutely.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm formerly known as Tyler, formerly known as Chef, now known as the conductor, next to be known as something else, I don't know. I'm joined by the one and only Beef Supreme in the middle, well, he will be when I edit it, and and the one and only Big Head, still has a big head, just as big as ever. We love him for it. It's not even fully in frame, it's so big. And welcome to, I think this is the fourth installation of, it's not even installation. Fourth installment, that's what I was trying to say, of the Nerdge podcast.
Part of me hopes that this is like the third or fifth. And if
I think
you just have to have two.
It's the fourth.
Like, it goes like 1, 2, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
I know it's the fourth because when I did the thumbnails for the last one, I started putting like numbers.
Oh, yeah.
So the last one is number 3, the Halloween special.
Yeah, good call actually.
Which, fun fact for anybody that does listen to the lore of the Nerdge podcast, I still am editing all the thumbnails on Microsoft Word. It works. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So they will be continued to be edited on Microsoft Word. I don't even know where we're at the beginning.
It's like painting with a screwdriver. It's like, what is it's just the wrong piece of software.
Oh,
wrong tool.
It's like one step above doing it on like Microsoft Excel.
Oh, actually, on Excel, you could probably do like pixel art pretty easily. So I mean, maybe it's below Excel.
Have you seen the people that do like the pixel art on Excel? It's insane.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Or the people who can like paint actual pictures with paint, like the software.
Yeah. Oh no, there's these people that do like pixel art on Excel. So they obviously like color one cell and everything, and then when they zoom out, it's like this gigantic like worksheet. And it's like this pixel art. It's super, super cool. Anyways, before the podcast started, when we were talking by ourselves, we were talking about trivia. And we were talking about like what you specifically think you would be really good at trivia. And I said I would be good at hockey and fish. And then Beef Supreme, you said you'd be good at what?
Tanks. Specifically World War II tanks. And in part like Japanese cars and drift culture.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
See, part of me really wants to just make fun of it more, but like at the same time, that's an oddly useful skill to have, especially with like the state of the world right now.
I don't know.
Sorry, I gotta
you
push
don't know
back.
The facts that I know. They're not very useful.
I gotta push back a little bit, yeah. I don't know in any state of the world where knowing the specifics about a tank, unless you're like on the battlefield, would be
useful. That's what I mean.
Like,
where it's like, that's what I mean. Like we're heading towards like potential World War III here. We might need somebody who knows about the enemy equipment. You know,
it's like Jesus, they're invading. Wait, somebody get Beef Supreme quick. What kind of tank is that? Like,
it tells us, and then
I have no idea.
We know nothing more now. Like,
They don't use World War II tanks anymore.
Yeah, wait, do you know anything about modern tanks?
A little bit, but not
okay.
much.
Because
There are some really cool things, actually. Have you heard of reactive armor?
No, I don't think so, no.
So on some tanks, you'll see they just look like blocks, like ceramic blocks that are piled around the tank in a pretty neat fashion. But what it actually does is it will detect when a projectile is like coming at the tank, and it will blow up before the projectile hits the tank.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So it, yeah.
So it has like...
Well, I guess it doesn't detect it, but like it hits the ceramic coating, and then it detonates, and so it causes a force going away from the tank, blows up the projectile, and then it doesn't hit the tank. So that's pretty cool.
Fighter jets have similar to that with like their flare thing, right? Like they shoot out the flare
those are
to,
like for
like heat
either to like
tracking.
disrupt a signal from a missile or
yeah,
to like draw an
confuse the
infrared.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here.
Anyways,
First of all, Big Head, what do you think yours would be? I just got to look something up here because we're gonna have an impromptu.
Favorite tank?
No.
World War II.
what is your favorite
Yeah.
World War II tank?
Okay, that's not what I was going to have. But what is your favorite World War II tank?
I have no fucking idea. Whatever the one they have in Fury is. What's the one they have in Fury? You
The
have to have
American
seen
one?
that movie.
I've never seen
Oh,
that.
You
That's
have
like
to
my
have seen the
favorite
movie Fury. Okay, I was like, if you're
Are you
obsessed
talking
with
about
tanks,
the?
you haven't seen Fury,
No, Hunter loves Fury.
the one they're in.
I love Fury.
Yeah, the one they're in, like the four.
Yeah,
of
it's
them
a
are
Sherman. It's a Sherman
Oh, okay.
Easy 8 is the actual like it's a better version of previous Sherman.
in. I will take that.
Bigger
as my
gun.
answer then.
Better suspension.
Papa
You can go
John's.
see that tank at the Bovington Tank Museum.
The Bobington
Where the
Tank
hell is
Museum.
Bovington?
It's in England.
Okay,
Southern England.
have you ever been to a tank museum?
Just military museum.
No, because that might have helped you for this quiz.
Oh
Do-do-do-do-do-do. The M4 Sherman was considered a heavy tank for the time. True or false?
False.
False. Okay. Oh, does it tell you right away if you're right? It doesn't tell right away, so you'll have to answer these all and then.
Trivia?
Yeah, it's a 10 question tank trivia.
Fuck off. I hate trivia. That was how that conversation started. I just like tanks. Okay,
How big
Go ahead.
was the largest tank gun put on the M4? 75 millimeters, 105 millimeters, 55 millimeters, or 150 millimeters?
That's a bit of a loaded question.
Oh my god.
Oh!
What were the options?
What's the answer then?
75,
Oh,
105, 55, or 150?
They put a 105 millimeter howitzer on it, I think.
105. Okay. The TOG
I
2
was
heavy
confident.
tank that never got beyond the trial stage was designed by which country? Britain,
The
Germany, Japan, or Greece?
TOG?
The TOG 2.
I've never even heard of that.
Wow.
I know.
Fake.
I'll say,
fake fan. Fake fan. You gave me if you gave me a fish
Did
trivia
Gre-
question, I'd get it.
Did Greece even have tanks?
Okay, the stupid thing is I feel like it's gonna be Greece.
Yeah, I'm just
because
gonna
it never made it
say
past the trials, yeah.
England because they fucked up a lot of their tanks.
Okay. The heaviest World War II tank was named what?
Well, the one I'm thinking of was never actually put into battle, but it was called the Mouse.
The mouse is one of the options.
The Mouse.
Okay. There's 10 questions. This will be the last one though. There's 5. I'll just ask you the 5. The T-70 light tank belonged to which country?
Russia.
I'll
Wow.
put Soviet Union. Okay.
Yeah! You think you know tanks? You know nothing about politics. Russia didn't exist back then.
That's where you come in handy, big head.
Okay.
Combined our knowledge knows.
I have the results.
That's exactly it.
I have the results. And you know what? You guys are going to be very surprised.
Oh wow.
Did I get 0?
Coming in at a grand total and you said you were pretty familiar with tanks, right? Like you do a lot of yeah, okay, yeah.
Kind of bad questions though, you know.
Yeah, you might have to rethink that. So coming in at a grand total of 5 out of 5.
Oh wow.
Actually,
Yeah, you actually got all of them right.
yeah. The stupid thing about the biggest gun question is like the bore would be bigger, but the barrel would be shorter. So the biggest gun is sort of a bad question.
Well,
Because like
Biggest caliber would be better.
yeah, so like on the Sherman they put a 105 millimeter howitzer, but it ends up being more of like an artillery piece. Whereas if you have like the 75 millimeter, it's a smaller shell, but you'd have a longer barrel to make it more accurate and shoot it at higher velocity.
Oh wait,
so
okay. There's facts that come along with the answers now, so I feel like I have to read them to you because I feel like you'll like that. So on that question, how big was the largest tank gun put on an M4? It was the 105 millimeter. The interesting thing was that this tank started out with 75 millimeter, went to a 76 millimeter. Then finally, toward the end of the war, models were coming out with the 105 millimeter. This gun was put on the M4IB or M4A6 around 1943. I'm gonna be honest, none of that made sense to me.
They realized that Shermans were not great tank to tank.
I think the only tank that I've ever like heard of, the actual name is like the Tiger or something. What's that one?
The Tiger, let me tell you about. I have a Haynes manual for the Tiger tank.
What's a Haynes manual?
You don't know what a Haynes manual is?
Actually,
everybody.
I don't know what that is.
Maybe I do.
Anybody who
ketchup
owns an
thing?
automobile should go buy a Haynes manual for their car.
Yeah, you've
Everything
told
you
me
need to
about the
know.
Haynes manual. That's where I know it from.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're glorious.
Oh, like an
so
owner's manual?
No, it just like Hunter,
way better. It's like
can explain
it has all like the specifications down to like the torque of even like most of the bolts on your car. And so if you need to look up like what kind of oil you need, how much oil you need, anything, it has it. Way better than an owner's manual, and like more intuitive. Has pictures on how to fix things. They're great. But the Tiger tank was like, in a way, like the Germans' most notorious tank. It was just a very big, very powerful, very over-engineered, and it's in the movie Fury. Is that big enemy tank that they fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that scene where they actually fight the Tiger is like the statistic was it would take 5 Sherman tanks to take out 1 Tiger tank.
Why was
So
it
they
so
got that.
good?
It was more heavily armored and had like this crazy gun. So what the Germans did was they had a very effective anti-aircraft cannon, essentially. It was like the Flak 88. So it was supposed to shoot shells like multiple kilometers into the sky. And they had the bright idea to just put that into a tank. And that's what they did. And it would just like shred other tanks, like it would blow a hole straight through them.
I'm sorry, but the thought process there is just funny to me, where it's like you're explaining everything very matter of fact, like professionally, and then you're just like, they got the bright idea to just put a fucking thing and just that's how I envisioned it
That's
in my
what I
head,
love
where it's
about
just
tanks,
like,
though. That's what I love about it. Is like before, it's like, oh, you have guns, you have like bigger guns, you have some planes, but like you don't have a vehicle that transports the guns and can shoot it from the vehicle. It's such a natural thought. And then they're like, let's put like a huge gun on it, and then just put a shitload of armor on it, and it'll be way better.
That's what I imagine. Like at when they like first conceptualize a tank, I imagine it's just like 2 dudes, and they're like, just like really late at night, super drunk, and they're like, yeah, and like we have these like cars, and we have these guns, but like, what happens if we have like a car gun?
Yeah, exactly. And then you get those monstrosities in World War One that hardly worked. They were just like mobile bunkers that just got stuck and broke. But
yeah, the tank is a pretty
so-
funny like weapon when you think about it like that. Like,
But then I don't know what actually got me hooked on it was like within the like 5 or so years of World War II, like the technology for tanks was like expedited an insane amount. Like it went so fast from the tanks they had from the beginning to the end was bonkers.
So like, this might be a stupid question. I really don't know anything about tanks at all, or like warfare at really all. But like tanks obviously were a huge like technological advancement during like World War One, World War Two. Is it still like in modern war? Like, are they still that like huge technological advantage, or is it mostly like air controlled and stuff now?
Yeah, I think the setting for wars has changed. Like tanks were never effective when you're in a city because you have people above you, you don't know where anyone is, so you can get ambushed, and they're like super effective anti-tank guns now that you can use. They're like tow missiles or one where you can actually fire the missile and control it by wire as it flies, so you can hit a target from fairly far away. And the technology for the projectiles has come a long way too, so it can actually like go through thicker armor than you'd expect at pretty low velocities. But I think they're less of a big deal now. I think countries have put less time into developing them. Like for example, even the United States, which might be one of the most sophisticated, expensive militaries in the world, still uses a tank that was more or less put into action like 30, 40 years ago. Like the Abrams it's a very good tank, but it's, and like they design upgrades, but the core of it has stayed the same for a very long time.
That's pretty cool.
And I think a lot of warfare is in cities a lot of the time now.
Yeah,
it's not in these big open areas where tanks kind of took off in World War II.
We're not just all meeting in the middle of a field and firing black powder guns at
standing in a
each
single
other.
line.
Yeah, fire!
Okay, last thing I'll mention because we probably want to move on, but one thing they invented with tanks in World War II was angled armor. That wasn't really a thought at the beginning.
Oh,
They just had like plates that were just straight up and
Yeah.
down.
so that
And it didn't occur to people that, well, maybe you want to angle it a bit.
instead of just
But then-
stopping it, maybe we want to deflect it because that makes
Deflect it.
sense.
Yeah, and like maybe part of that was designing a tank so it would actually house people, and like the other part was initially, and especially for the States, all of their tanks, like it was made out of cast iron.
Oh wow, that'd
So,
be
like-
incredibly heavy, eh?
Super heavy, but they made their pieces all like modular, and like that was their claim to fame, was they could repair very quickly in the field. But one thing I hadn't thought about with angled armor was if you take a plate, say it's like 100 millimeters thick, and you angle it, the distance for something to go through that plate is actually longer now too.
It's like
so it's
130
going to have
now.
to deflect it, and it's going to be effectively thicker.
Huh.
So,
Yeah, that's interesting.
Cool, fun fact.
fun fact.
Um,
What about fish?
no, I want to hear big heads.
Okay.
Okay, here's the question.
For
So
what, sorry?
I want to know in trivia or something like that. So let's say that you have to go up against somebody in trivia, and your like life depends on it, and you get to pick the topic. What topic, like Hunter with tanks, what topic do you think, or sorry, Beef Supreme with tanks? Keep saying this imaginary name for you that.
Yeah, who's that?
Yeah, I don't know. What topic do you think you could beat like everybody else in the world at? Yeah.
I don't know if I could beat everybody in the world.
Well, not everybody, but like statistically, if you're matched up with somebody.
Yeah, like I'd be in a higher category. I feel like there's quite a few that I could compete in. I'd say like Green Lantern or like DC Comics. I'd do pretty good in.
I think Green Lantern, if you stuck to like specifically Green
Yeah.
Lantern, I think you could probably just beat everybody.
Yeah, like that would definitely be like probably like the best category, I'd say overall. Other ones like I could compete in would be like yeah, see that's hard because like it depends on how we start cutting up trivia, right? Like there was this game show I used to really like growing up, and it was called Beat the Geek. Did either of you ever hear about that?
I've definitely heard of it, but I can't remember if it's because you told me about it.
It was super funny because it was like super cheesy, but like each of the geeks were like in these like wizard robes, and they represented like different categories, and the contestant would like have to wager their odds of like which particular geek they could beat. So there was like a movie trivia geek, there was a music geek, there was a comic book geek, there was a TV geek, things like that, and like each week it would change. But that one was like a lot of fun because I always liked the idea of like going in, having your strengths, but then having to be strategic in like who you versed, when you versed them, kind of thing, like depending on the difficulties of questions. Because like I think I do okay at the music trivia since all of us have been there now. Like I think I do okay at music trivia.
I don't think. Okay, I think you're good at music, but I think if you had to like pick something, I feel like it wouldn't be
right
music.
away my skill level drops. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'd say there's just way too many people.
And
that are
other
better at
people's
that
goes
than I
up
am.
too.
Yeah, like yeah.
'Kay,
like, I
well-
don't think I would want to compete life or death of that, but did you find a Green Lantern one?
So we have a Green Lantern trivia. I feel like you'll
Okay,
get
let's
these
see.
no problem. I feel like I think there's like if I had to make a bet on it of these 5 questions, if you don't get 5 out of 5, I would be like actually appalled.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, question number 1. The original Green Lantern was part of what superhero team? And I'm not going to give you choices because that'd be way too easy.
Justice League, like the Green Lantern Corps.
So Justice League of
Or
America.
Justice Society of America. Well, okay, this really depends because these questions get complicated. Does it
Okay.
say the name of the Green Lantern? Because technically the original Green Lantern was Alan Scott, and he was part of the Justice Society of America. the
Final
JSA.
answer?
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt and say that someone knows a lot about a topic when they're like, well, it gets complicated, and then they tell you way more about whatever it is than what you asked.
And then it's just like the SpongeBob thing, 3 hours later.
That's
Okay,
how you know.
so Justice Society of America, final answer?
Yeah. I'll go with
Okay.
that.
Question number 2. What city was home to the Silver Age Green Lantern?
Coast City.
What was it? Coast?
Coast, yeah. Coast
Coast
City.
City. Okay. Question number 3. Who gave Hal Jordan his power ring?
Abin Sur.
You're gonna have to be a little bit more specific because I do not know much about that, and their answer's not here. I might have to read it.
Then?
Superman, a dying alien, his father, an Egyptian
Dying
ghost.
alien.
A dying, yeah, okay. Glad we clarified. I mean, I knew that, but like
His
for
name is
everybody
Abin
listening,
Sur.
for everybody listening,
like
you know.
That question bothers me because I'm like, I feel like such a fucking nerd now that I know his name, and he's one of my favorite characters too. I love Abin Sur.
And I'm like, a dying alien.
Yeah. That would be
Okay, question number 4. What former Green Lantern Corps member was dishonorably discharged for abusing his power?
That'd be Sinestro, is who I think the answer would be.
Sinestro. Okay.
Or Thal Sinestro.
I feel like you know you were right on that one just because I never gave you any options and you knew it was Sinestro. Question number 5, final question. What was the name of the orb created by the Guardians of the Universe that contained the stray necromantic forces of the cosmos?
The orb?
What was the name of the orb created by the Guardians of the Universe that contained the stray necromantic forces of the cosmos?
Oh, what are the options?
Starfall, Stargate, Starheart,
this
or
is
Starfire?
Starheart. Yeah,
Starheart.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you think you did?
I think I got 5 out of 5.
How certain are you?
Well, and then this is where I'm gonna sound like even more of an arrogant nerd. If I didn't, then the questions are wrong. Because I phrased them poorly.
They're bad questions, yeah.
Yeah, they're bad questions. So whoever made this test knows less than I do.
Okay, Beef Supreme, how confident are you? If your life depended on it, Beef Supreme, and you knew the category was Green Lantern, and you called Big Head up, how confident would you be right now that you're living?
100%.
100%?
No doubt in my mind.
Okay. And the final results are, to no surprise, 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you got me worried there.
He
I was worried about
answered
the
4
first
of them without even knowing the answer.
Yeah, I know, that was insane. The
Quickly.
Sinestro one, I was boggled, because it was like the other options were Vandal Savage, Mir Wooden,
Yeah.
Dr. Polaris, and Sinestro. And you were just like, oh, Sinestro.
That's easy because a lot of those characters aren't even Green Lanterns. So
Well, let me read one piece of fact, like we did for Beef Supreme.
oh wait. Give me a hint and let's see if I can tell you the fact.
Okay.
Before.
Okay. Let me
Like,
think.
try
Let me
to see
think.
if you can give me a context cue, and I'll try to guess what the fact will be.
Oh, this is gonna be hard. Okay. I feel like I just have to ask you another question. So, Sinestro is the archenemy of Green Lantern and founder of what?
Oh, the Sinestro Corps.
Yeah,
which
that
is
was way
also
too
known as the
easy.
Yellow Lantern. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, none of these I'm gonna be able to do that. They're just kind of like
I
fun
kind of want to
facts.
do this for like the comedic like purposes, but like look at my bedroom. So like
Yeah, you answered so quickly because Sinestro was staring at you in your face. You have the Starheart in your hand.
What is Sinestro? Is
It's
that
like-
like the red guy? Is it like the alien red guy?
No.
Is that what Sinestro is? What is it?
he has like pinkish skin, but he's
Is he like the main bad guy in like the Green Lantern universe?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's like up. You see the yellow costume guys? He's over there in the yellow costume in the
On the top?
shelf. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I see.
Or like from the movie, he's Mark Strong's character.
Okay, actually, maybe this is a better question. Why,
There we go.
why Green Lantern? Like, what makes you gravitate towards Green Lantern?
So like when I was younger, so like obviously like I feel like our generation was like pretty nerdy, like just in general. Like I feel like lots of our media growing up was like focused around like what is commonly like previously at least known as like nerdy stuff. So I had like this like nerdy kind of identity crisis, I guess, going into high school, where like I guess just with like the onset of like that being like an identity moment for anybody in any capacity, I was just like, you know, what really does matter to me in terms of like that stuff, right? Because if you're gonna have fun with something, if you're gonna like have something that matters to you so much that you're gonna like collect it and like consume content around it, like stuff like that. I just like kind of went through a bit of like a period of like not knowing what that would be. Like I don't know how to describe it. So like before that, it was Transformers was kind of like my niche thing as a kid, where it was like that was sort of like what I was like super interested in. Before that, it was like a little bit of like Mario specifically, like Super Mario Brothers. And then like once I got into comic books, it was just like the character that I found to be like the most interesting. When I look back on it, a lot of it's like I make the joke of it's like, what's a way to know if I'm gonna like something? It has to be color coded, because like Green Lantern, Power Rangers, like Digimon, all these things I like are like color coded. There has to be like a totem or like some sort of like conduit for the power. So like a Green Lantern ring, the Power Rangers morpher, Digimon crests, like they're always like a thing that you get, like something that you get to have, or like Digivice, like for Digimon and stuff, like and then it was like also based around like a virtue or something like that. So like with Digimon, like the crests are based around virtues. With Green Lantern, each of the different Lantern cores is based around like a particular emotion. At least Power Rangers in Japan is based around that too, not so much in North America. But yeah, I guess that's what like drew me to it. It was just like the idea of like that sort of stuff. Plus like Hal Jordan has like an interesting history in how he's been written and stuff, but I don't know if that answers enough.
No, yeah, it definitely does. So like when you started kind of getting into, like you said, you were really into Transformers, really into Power Rangers, all that stuff. Were you also at that time also really into like superheroes, or was that kind of like something that emerged after you were into those things?
Yeah, like I would say like it kind of came after the fact. So like obviously as a child, like I watched superhero cartoons, because again, like how could you not? Growing up in North America, like we're all introduced to that stuff pretty early, like whether it was Teen Titans, like we've talked about before, or you know, like the Batman animated series. Like there's a ton of like really impactful superhero things, and I feel like I always thought superheroes were cool and I wanted to engage with them as like as a medium, but it was really hard to get into it till I was a teenager, because comic books are like so inaccessible. Like it's like you go to a comic book store and you're like, I'd like to read stories on this character, and it's like, okay, well here's the issue that comes out this week. It's like, you know, 75 out of a run that only started like 2 years ago, and it's only, you know, the 75th version of this character's story, and it's written by this particular like writer who writes this character in this way, you know what I mean? So like it gets really hard to jump into it. And I didn't feel like confident enough till I was a teenager. I had like income that I could spend on it, and then at least a little bit better ability to navigate that world, because like as a child it's like there's no way you could access that, right? I do think like the movie aspect of superheroes definitely played a factor in all that, where it was an accessible way to get introduced to characters. Now you could just go see the movie of it, get sort of the gist, go from there. It made collecting more accessible, because like all the movies would make affordable like toys and collector's items, where if you're just collecting as like a comic book fan, it gets more and more expensive, right? So I'm trying to think of what else.
So I have a question then. So you said it was like very inaccessible, and like for me, who I've never really engaged with comic books or anything in the past, from what you've kind of told me, it is like a very inaccessible thing. Like I would not know where to start. Do you think with the internet, it's been made easier or harder to get into comic books?
Yeah.
Easier, you said, or harder?
Like,
easier? Oh, okay.
Easier, yeah. Like, there's like free, like, pirating places. Like, Not that I'm encouraging anyone to go do that for legal reasons.
Well,
but,
so that was what I was gonna bring up. Do you think that
Yeah.
do you think the internet has somewhat killed the comic book industry a little bit because people aren't necessarily going to their comic book store and buying a comic, or do you think it's more people getting engaged that is just better overall?
Yes and no. So here's the thing with like all nerd fandoms, whether it's like comic books, whether it's like Warhammer, whether it's card games, whatever the case is. You have a core of fans that will give you their money until they die. No matter what, they want that thing forever, every week. So you're always going to have an industry, you're always going to have a fan base that's going to be fairly consistent. The movies definitely made that like ebb and flow a bit more for comic books, where it's like you kind of have people coming and going more regularly. You can take advantage of those movie crowds with certain merchandise or certain comic book storylines with certain characters. Part of the struggle is like a lot of those companies, I think, are a little bit not focused on the future of their franchises to the extent of they think if they pivot everything to the casual viewer of those movies that they can profit on that, and then that's going to be good for their company. They're going to now have a consistent base that's going to be bigger, so on and so forth. And I mean, for Marvel, it's working because I kind of refer to Marvel fans or like MCU fans as Disney adults, in the sense that like they're very similar consumers, right? They are loyal to that brand. They aren't really cared about like the quality of story, and this is of course my own bias showing 100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, and I feel like Star Wars has become a little bit of that too, right? So it's like, and because Disney owns it, of course, they're gonna kind of mesh in line with like the Disney format of things. But I think that can hurt the company. If they just focus on the new casual fans, they're gonna lose the support of their like fans that just want to buy the same thing every week in a certain format, right? Because you're also looking at people like nerds are a particular type of person, right? So physical media, I don't think is necessarily something that franchise or like that industry will ever lose, because fans want that, right? Like, I don't want to collect digital comics. I want to collect physical comics, have them in long boxes, so on and so forth. That, yes, is it a dying medium? Sure, it's not an accessible way to read stories, but that's what I want to buy and collect, right? So
yeah, it's like a tangible thing you can like have and like and you know, hold and collect and stuff like that. I don't know, there's something very like, I mean, same with like trading cards and stuff like that. Like, you can play the online versions of like Pokemon and stuff like that, but it's not the same. It just like isn't the same at all. I like to have like you know, my pack of cards that I can like open up and like collect and keep and stuff like that. So I guess it's the same type of thing, I guess. Like,
or when it comes to tanks, World War II tanks.
Yeah.
You want to be able to.
Under Feesh Supreme has a couple tanks. Yeah. Actually, I feel like you
part of it too.
Do you have any models? Do you have any tank models?
Yeah, you want me to grab them?
Do you actually?
Yeah, I used to build scale models, and then I kind of got back into it like a few years ago and built a few.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Go get one.
Okay.
One day I'll bring over a Green Lantern action figure and I can put him in the tank.
We can all have one of our things, yeah. Beef Supreme can have his tank, and you can have a little Green Lantern, and I'll go get a fish.
You'll have like the fish tank. Get it?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. Well, okay, I'll wait until Beef Supreme gets back, but I don't know if I'd pick fish. I wouldn't pick Pokemon. I feel like too many people, like, I know a lot about Pokemon, but I don't think I know as much as some people that are like mega fans. Like, I think I definitely know more.
Specifically, or do you mean like Sea Life? Or like
Sea Life, yeah. I genuinely think that I could. Okay, so what kind of tank is this?
This is a Sherman.
Okay.
Same one as
This is
in
kind of a-
Fury. America.
This is a Transformer, as a side note. That I just when I saw
Based
that.
on some American.
That's
A piece
funny.
just fell off, so that tells you how good my craftsmanship is.
Oh, that's funny.
This one is a king tiger.
This is like just devolved into show and tell.
I
great.
loved show and tell as a kid. Though. I lived for this. I want to see.
What did
more tanks.
you bring for show and tell? I can't even remember what I would have ever brought for show and tell.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Tamagotchis I would have brought.
What would I have brought?
Oh, whatever I was into, like a fucking Chewbacca plush toy I got from Burger King.
I think I blocked it out of my mind because I hated it. I didn't want to show and tell. It's something I would have wanted to show and tell if I wasn't shy. I just wanted to go play with by myself.
I feel like
That's
maybe one show and tell. The only one that I might remember, and I don't even know if this actually happened, but I think I took my grandma's dog.
That's a good one.
I
Who
feel
doesn't want to see a dog?
yeah, I feel like I took my grandma's dog to school for show and tell, but I might also have just made that up.
I think I took some rocks once. Like
Oh,
some
hell
rocks
yeah.
with like fossils in it.
Did you ever have like a rock pet?
My dad did in a fishbowl.
What?
No, it wasn't a rock. It wasn't a rock. It was a donut.
What?
A petrified donut, or like
Donut.
You just never ate it?
Donut.
How long did it
donut
live for?
in a fishbowl forever. It's probably still there. It's a donut.
it's
What?
like those
Why?
like, McDonald's
Preservatives.
cheeseburgers you can buy on eBay, like from the 90s.
Why?
Whoa. Why? I don't know. He's my dad. Tism thought it was funny. I don't know. He also will
That's
tell
your
me the
family's
story
inheritance.
One day, son. One day, this donut will be yours.
It's actually the first Krispy Kreme ever made.
It's like Mr. Krabs' like $1 bill up on the wall. Like that's his.
Yeah.
This is my first donut, son.
Yeah.
This is the first donut I ever ate. But Dad, there's no bites out of it.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I going back to my thing. I think it would either be. I don't think it'd be Pokemon just because I know a lot about Pokemon, like more than the average person. But I think I wouldn't beat like some of the super fans. Cooking, I think I would like know more than the average person, but like obviously an actual trained chef would probably know more than me, or should hopefully know more than me. So I think it would be like sea life, because literally the only person that could beat me at that is like an actual marine biologist.
Yeah. It is hard to
well-
figure like that niche stuff, but we have to do a quiz for you now.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I have the most pressure now because you guys both have 5 out of
Okay.
5.
What
So-
fish am I,
I feel-
thinking of?
Oh wait, I have a fish question that I know the answer to.
Okay.
What is the name of the state fish of Hawaii?
It's called Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua'a.
Is that actually right?
Yes. Umu umu nuka nuka.
It's also called the Picasso triggerfish. That's like its actual name, but the Hawaiian name for it is the Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua'a.
I know that
Oh my
from
God.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh yeah.
The guy he says that, he's like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah, I do remember. Like the one big like bartender guy, right? Yeah.
And I always just thought that was so funny. But okay, for yours, the quizzes that are coming up, I feel like are more of like pictures and then identify this fish.
Okay.
Is that gonna work?
Yeah, sure. Your picture for me is kind of grainy though, so I'm saying right now if I get one wrong, it's because of that.
Or would it be better if we found one that like described a certain kind of fish?
Oh, that's good. That's
that
like almost.
did
feel like-
something.
Yeah, that would be like maybe too hard.
It has fins.
I'm trying
Also
to
has
think.
gills.
Yeah.
I guess it'd probably be
What-
either too hard or too easy.
And it's like sea life too. It's not just like fish, like any sea
Oh,
life.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me revamp.
Revamp. Calculating.
What is the this? I don't know if this is a good question or not.
Oh
but
man, I'm gonna get
I'll
these
skip this
wrong.
one. What is the suspected thing that the Loch Ness monster is actually? I don't know if that's a good way of phrasing that question. Have you ever heard about this? It's like
I've heard
what
of
they
a
think the
couple.
Loch Ness monster was a picture of.
I've heard
Like
of a
what
couple
fish
things.
resembles the Loch Ness monster? Is that a better way of?
It's like a
No, because the Loch Ness monster that we know is based off of like a dinosaur, I believe.
yeah.
But there's like this thing with
Because I do
what they
vaguely,
think the picture is of.
I do vaguely remember hearing about this, and I'm trying to think now. Because I don't think it was like a jumping fish or something like that.
And I don't even know if I'm right. I'm just going off of
Okay.
memory.
And also, it's not really a
But I'm
fish.
pretty sure.
It's not really a
yeah,
fish
I'm
fact.
pretty sure it's a whale's penis
But
is what
it's
the suspected.
it's a
door.
fresh water though. It's a loch. How would they get
a?
a?
I'm wrong.
Okay, I have a quiz if you want.
Oh, okay.
Then I would guess
Yeah, I
it's-
mean it's a loch. It's like a freshwater lake in Scotland. I'm pretty sure. Like I don't know how a whale could get in there.
But this is proving your expertise.
Oh, okay. Okay, hit me.
Okay, this quiz is 20 questions, but we'll just see how quickly we go. Question number 1.
Well, you can do probably
What-
like 5 and then hit submit. That's what I did for your guys's.
See, I get some of them are just I just want to know the answer.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
what is the largest fish in the world?
That would be the whale shark.
How many tentacles does a squid have?
A little bit of a trick question, but I'll say 10. I might revise my answer later because technically the tentacles and the feelers I think are different. But
See, I told you.
but I'll say 10.
This is how you know. This is how you know someone knows a lot.
But I'll say 10. I also think cuttlefish might be different as well, but they're not designated as squid, so I'll say 10.
Okay. I think it'll come up with a bit of a blurb after too, so we'll see what their justification is.
Okay.
Which mollusk lacks a shell?
An octopus.
Oh, okay, hold on. Anemone,
Oh.
nudibranch, squid, or sea hare? Is one of those
I mean, it could be either a nudibranch or a squid. What was the first option?
anemone?
Oh, an anemone. And it was which one lacks a shell?
Which mollusk lacks a shell? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I feel like all of those kind of lack a shell, but I mean, they might say that the squid has like a shell plate in it. An anemone might have something. I'm actually not really sure. I would say. I'll say an anemone.
I have to confirm because it's spelled A-M-E-M-O-N-E.
Oh, okay.
Anemone?
I mean, a
That's why I was kind of stuttering.
A nudibranch too, like that's a sea slug. So like that might not be there. I'm not really sure.
We stumped him. It
Yeah.
might be a bad question.
Yeah, that one might actually have stumped me.
Well, let's ignore that one, and we just won't count it. What shark can live in both freshwater and saltwater?
Oh,
Blue
that.
shark,
Oh, okay.
black tip shark, great white shark, or a bull shark?
Oh, I knew the answer before. It's a bull shark. They're in Australia. They can go up rivers, which is really scary.
Oh, weird.
What shark can live in air?
Sharknado.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
avalanche shark.
yeah, it's like Sharknado.
Which is not a crustacean? A horseshoe crab, a hermit crab, a frog crab, or a bay barnacle?
Oh, this one stumped me too. These are hard. Which one's not a crustacean? I feel like it's gonna be like a trick question. It's gonna be one of those I think it's a horseshoe crab. I think it's a horseshoe crab because it's not. It's like some
What's a
sort of
horseshoe?
like. Well, no, it's like some sort of like cephalopod or something like that. I'm gonna say horseshoe crab.
Okay. And then the last question for now. Which is not a jellyfish? A Portuguese man-o'-war, a sea walnut, stinging nettle, or a sea wasp?
No, it's a stinging nettle. That's a plant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Who the
Okay.
hell named these things too?
Honestly, it's like a bunch of like old scientists that came across stuff, and then a lot of times they would like give it really stupid names and then revert it back to a Latin name so it didn't sound as stupid.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so skipping question 3.
What was question 3 though?
It said it was a nudibranch.
Yeah, so a nudibranch is like a sea slug. They're like, if you, I think we may have talked before about like, you know, the sea dragons. They're like the really cool fluorescent like slug-looking thing that's really blue. They're kind of dangerous. They're like the slugs you see on like Animal Planet and stuff like that. They're like really super vibrant colors and stuff like that. They're pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, and it kind of a trick question, I think, because it says they're born with a shell, but they lose it after the larval stage. So, not really fair. You did get one wrong, though.
Okay. What was the one that was wrong?
We all
And we'll
died.
see.
It was the jellyfish one, the nettle. It says the correct
what?
answer is a sea walnut.
I'm pretty sure a stinging net. Maybe there's two things with the same name. I'm pretty
don't know.
positive a stinging nettle is a plant.
That does sound like a plan.
Yeah, it only talks about the sea walnut.
Okay,
It
yeah,
doesn't
everybody,
talk
if
about
you're
the-
listening to this, I just want you to go and Google search stinging nettle, and you will see that a plant shows up.
Yeah, and just to out them, this quiz is from the Texas Marine Species Identification.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure they're right. I'm sure there is a jellyfish called a stinging nettle, but
No, they're
yeah.
wrong.
I mean, the questions, now that I'm reading their
anti-Texas
little...
Marine biologists now. We're officially taking a
protest.
stand. Yeah.
The questions were pretty tricky. Like, you got all of them right, except for that one.
Yeah.
Although it seems like you did get it right.
Well, no, I
don't know,
probably
they're
got
just
it.
kind of technical.
I probably got it wrong. There probably is a jellyfish called a stinging nettle. It's just when you said stinging nettle, the first thing I thought is like the
It's
common
also a
plant
plant.
called the stinging nettle. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
why.
Yeah.
So I guess I only got 4 out of 5. I'm the
Well,
loser.
now
a
time to
failure.
publicly execute you on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm a fake fan. I'm a fake fan. I'll never live this down.
Big Head just bursts through your door behind you. Puts a bag over your head.
It's like, no, we're serious. Like, we can't have this show with you anymore. You're not a nerd.
You're out of the band.
Yeah, you guys have proven your nerddom.
Our Wikipedia starts listing past members.
Okay, I will say, yeah. I will say though,
We'll have to
I
do-
think
our next episode will be a reunion tour. Though.
I will say though, I think my questions were definitely harder than. Well, actually,
Yeah, that's true. That's
They're
true.
just all niche. Like, if you know them, you know them. I don't know.
I was also
Okay.
gonna say yours is like, well, actually, I would say like Hunter's is probably academic as well. But I was like, yours is more of an academic category. Ours is more like, well, mine's definitely trivial knowledge. Like, it's not like important knowledge. Whereas Tanks,
Okay,
I'd argue is.
Would you say
and
though,
Fish
like
is, like,
famous novels? Like, if you get a trivia question about famous novels, like that's academic. Would you not consider like comic
sometimes
books?
I push back on that stuff. Well, if you're gonna, okay, I see the argument you're going. For me, it's kind of all or none. Where like I think with books, we're a little bit prestigious with them when they aren't really as. That sounds so stupid right now. Me being like, books aren't really that smart. But like what I mean by that is like it's a form of entertainment in the same way like a movie is or stuff like that. So like sometimes like I feel like we hold that medium like too high of a standard for what it really is at the end of the day. Because that happens with music too, right? Like certain types of music are seen as like high society or high class compared to others.
I think this is
so in that sense, I guess, like, yeah.
This is a side note, but there is something wrong with my brain when it comes to music, like in terms of like music trivia. I think I'm like, I don't know, I think I'm like band blind or something. Like I cannot for the life of me tell you like which band sang which song. Like,
I'm bad at that too, and I listen to a lot of music.
Like, you could show me like a very popular like song from the 80s or 90s or something like that like immediately I know the song of it. Not a chance I would be able to tell you the band name.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true for like one-hit wonder bands, like
even
bands
like AC/DC or like Aerosmith or something like that. Like if you played me one of their songs, I would not make the connection that it's them.
Could you at least guess the right decade and genre?
Yeah, I mean that's like, because I mean they have like themes, right? Like musical themes and stuff like that. But like I could not tell you like a Rolling Stones song. And then you could like tell me
that's
the.
Pretty normal, like.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
It depends
actually,
on the band, I guess.
I'm okay identifying bands, but when it comes to the song, like, I don't know, like some of my favorite bands, I probably couldn't tell you more than a handful of songs, if that.
That's like my worst nightmare if I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of this band, and they're like, oh, what's your favorite song?
Yeah, it's like I could hum all the melodies to you. I can't tell you what songs they are.
Yeah, I think I'm just.
I think that just comes down to a lot of like how you engage with music too, right? So like, are you actively seeking the music out? Because then you usually will know more about what you have to search for. Whereas if you're consuming music through like radio or Spotify equivalent, where it's like you're kind of just being shown music in a playlist, and then you may not know the singer or the band or the song name because you're just hearing it, right? So I think that's a factor.
I feel like now, like, I mean, I'm talking about like older music and stuff like that, but if you talk about like music now that's come out in like the past like 5 years until now, I feel like the cycle of new artists that comes out is like really rapid. Like somebody will come out, they blow up because of like the internet and everything. They have like one hit or maybe a couple songs, and then you just like never hear about them again.
For sure. Like, I think that's definitely the case with like TikTok being a factor on music and how music is like consumed now. I also think too, it depends on like, again, back to that engagement level of music. So if you're not actively searching for your music and it's based on like an algorithm or something like that, that music's going to be shuffled out way more regularly, right? So again, that artist will be relevant on that playlist for that time, and then it's shuffled out. So if you're not like, oh, I like that song, or I wonder who sang it, or I like that song, or I wonder what its name is, let's save it, then it's just gone, right? And it's not committed to memory either.
Okay, well, before we end this episode, because I think we should keep this one short and sweet. I think we got to a lot of fun stuff, a lot of knowledge learned. But like old school, like grade 3 or whatever, what's one thing you learned about somebody else's nerd thing? Beef Supreme, why don't you go first? Tell us what you learned today.
Wow, that just reminded me of one of my worst nightmares of grade school.
Let's put you on the spot and tell us what you learned, little Mr. Beef Supreme.
Wait, about the
Nerdge? About either
or the person.
Yeah, about either something that Derek nerded out on, sorry, Big Head nerded out on, or that I nerded out on.
I learned more about how inaccessible comic books are from Big Head's explication of the same. Well, like, I knew that they were inaccessible because, like, I had gone to comic stores and was like, yeah, they're pretty cool. Like, I like the pictures. I wouldn't mind reading them because I didn't really like actual books growing up. But then, like, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know who was who. There were like a million different versions of the same person. Like, and I'm the kind of person who, like, if I'm going to get into something, I want to start from episode 1 or version 1 and move forward. So I just quit. But what you said makes more sense as to why it's complicated.
I feel like in a future episode.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like in a future episode we should do one where we each have to, like, outside, like, homework almost. We need to, like, do one thing of another person's thing. So, like, Beef Supreme has to read a comic book, and I have to, like, watch, like, Fury or something.
And I gotta go fishing.
And Derek has to go catch a salmon.
Derek's is way more work than anyone's.
Derek has to, like.
I got this flapping stuff.
Derek has to, like,
like
go get on, like, a crabbing boat in Alaska and, like, brave the Arctic Ocean to catch, like, a king crab.
He has to go harvest a stinging nettle.
Yeah. Hey, Big Head, what's one thing you learned?
I actually thought it was pretty interesting to learn about the physics of the angling of the tank.
Crap, you took mine.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's a
and then
good
just
one,
like
right?
that is a good one, actually. That one's like a pretty interesting tactic for, like, how to defend a tank, but then also it's funny in the context it was given to us in, where, like, we were joking about tanks being sort of the, like, if we can move a machine, good. If we can make a machine move and shoot a big thing at another big machine, good. And then very quickly it's just like science. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we got the concept down, hit hard, hit things far away real hard, move closer to things if you're not there already, big metal, check. And then, like, angles, trajectory. Like,
part of that is, like, people in the middle of the war being like, guys, we're getting fucked up. Like, what can we do to fix this?
We're getting destroyed. And then one guy's like, what if we angle the armor?
Exactly. And then they shot him, and then we're like, actually, that was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, and then the guy, like,
the bullet ricocheted off of it.
The corporal at the front's just like, what if we angle the armor? That's really stupid, isn't it? Wait, what if we angle the armor?
Yeah.
Shut up, nerd. Like...
Yeah.
Oh,
all right,
too funny.
Conductor.
I learned that Sinestro is an evil guy. I learned Sinestro is Green Lantern's evil biggest nightmare, and he has a yellow suit.
You didn't tell us we were actually taking it back.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
You weren't fiddling enough. If you were acting like a child, you weren't fiddling enough.
I learned that I like turtles.
I love that guy. I saw on
that kid's
Instagram
so
someone went as him for Halloween.
I saw that too, yeah. That's what made me think of that as I saw that.
So good.
They brought that kid, so he's like an adult now. He's like our age, I think, or maybe a bit younger. But he got to go to the Ninja Turtles premiere for the new Ninja Turtles movie that came out. Like,
that's so dumb.
and they dressed him up in the costume as, like, the zombie costume that he had or whatever, like the sunken eyes and, like, gray hair. And he just sat there. It's like
he's just a normal guy.
The promotion. Yeah, it's just he's just an adult now. Like
that was probably so awkward for him. So we just called
And
him
it's
up,
such a
like,
weird meme because it's like it's only relevant to millennials. So it's just like everyone's like, who the fuck's this guy?
yeah. That was probably so awkward. I don't even know if that's like as funny as they probably thought it was gonna be.
It's funny. It's almost funnier because it's so bad. They did that. They just made his day awkward. They made everyone else who was there to genuinely promote the movie. They were probably like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Like,
Yeah. Okay, well, let's leave it there. If you listen through the whole podcast, like, again, I don't know who would, but if you did, thank you for listening. We had a lot of fun talking about our nerd, I don't even know what you'd call it, our special nerd powers, our nerdges.
fixations.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. If you haven't watched our previous episodes, go back and watch our previous episodes. We have 3 other ones. And if you liked what you saw, maybe give us a follow, watch our future episodes as well. Anything you guys have to say?
No. Goodbye.
Okay.
Smash that subscribe button, gamers.
Fuck.
Oh god. What is even that symbol? That wasn't even a G.
What the fuck is even that?
It's like the Wonder Woman like gang sign or something. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye. That's gonna be like your thing now. Hey, it's Big Head, and everybody's just like,
oh, Big Head! We're gonna be at like a Comic Con one day. At like VidCon. It's him! It's him!
It's him! It's him! It's the lore! The lore!
It's the Lord!
Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time. Oh yeah, okay.
Oh no, not for the podcast.
Go ahead.
I was like, we can cut it. Is the podcast?
Oh, what happens? Cut it. Cut the episode. Cut it.